violent lightning and rain made time freeze. Alright, y'all, welcome back to some more Umineko when they cry. Last time we had a little love discussion, this time between Eric and Delonor, which I really didn't see coming, where Eric reveals that she's in love with Delonor, and Delonor hasn't answered yet, by the way, but then they go into this. Well, I think they had the battle first, right? They did a whole chess battle, where no, this is after Erica confessed her love to Delonor. So Erica confessed to Delonor, I love you. Then they had a chess battle because Erica apparently got cheated on in the past by a guy, a boyfriend that she had in the past. So that entire thing happened. And Erica destroyed Delonor in that battle. I mean, it was kind of an unfair battle to begin with for Delonor, but she did have those 6 points of blue truth that Erica didn't counter. But because Erica couldn't use red, you know, she can never prove that Delonor or the boyfriend doesn't actually love Delonor, Erica, I mean, and that, you know, he did actually cheat on her. So yeah, we had that whole thing going on. Really came out of nowhere. I did not see Erica being into Delonor. That was huge. And then we move on to George, which we're continuing on with right now. George fighting his own mother over being able to marry Shannon, right? And continue living his life with Shannon. As expected, and as we've seen in previous episodes too, Eva heavily disapproves, and disapproves here too. So they go into this battle. Eva turns into Eva teacher, and they have a whole magic battle, as you do in Umineko, of course, because, you know, yeah, magic battle, bang 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 bang, spider webs. George gets sucked in and all that. But now it seems like George has gotten the upper hand. He kicks her in the stomach, and she starts vomiting. And yeah, of course, I don't expect that's what actually happened. I don't expect George to have actually kicked his own mother in the stomach to the point where she vomits. I don't. Yeah, it's a magic battle. So yeah, and of course, Eva turns into her Eva teacher form, which is really, she's smaller, right? So younger. She's her teenage self. But yeah, I guess this is George's part of the trial. Him trying to overcome one of his biggest faults. He said himself, this is his biggest fault. His parents, his mother especially. If he can get over his mother to be able to marry Shannon, then that's his goal. I'm sure Jessica's going through her own trial. I don't know if it's happening right now or whatever. And now we also have Chick Beato going through her trial. But it does seem like Erica's got her trial going on. I wasn't expecting Erica to have a love story going on with Delano of all people. Or if with anyone really. I mean, I didn't expect us to get romance with Erica. But maybe I should have. But I certainly wouldn't have said, oh yeah, Delano for sure. Yeah, she's into her. Erica's into Delano for sure. What? Wow, wait. Crazy revelation. I did not see... I did not see Erica as emotionally attached to Delano in that sort of way whatsoever. So yeah, but again, I have said this before in the past, to be fair, where I am extremely bad when it comes to the topic of love, right? I am sure that my conclusion that Shannon is probably in love with Battler, right? I don't know what's going on between Shannon and George, but Shannon being in love with Battler, I came to that conclusion, I can guarantee you, later than 99% of other readers of Umineko. I can guarantee you. I am so bad with that. I came to that conclusion when episode 4 or 5, and I'm sure most of y'all probably went all the way at the start when they were arguing and bickering and Beth was laughing, but sometimes Battler was smiling too. I bet all of y'all, even all the way back then, were like, yeah, there's romance going on here between Battler and Beto. And I didn't see it, because I generally thought that they were rivals fighting each other and all that. I didn't see any romance building up, so yeah. And I do like romance stories. Before people go, I mean, I guess you're just not a fan of romance stories. There's a difference between liking romance stories and being good at detecting a romance appearing without even noticing. And I'm really bad at noticing that. So if you have seen Birdie Wing, for example, right? Birdie Wing is a golf story, right? It's these girls that do golfing, right? And you have the two not male characters, main characters. They're female, not male, of course. But they are main characters. There's two of them, and they play golf, right? And in my eyes, right, I didn't see any, you know, I didn't see them as two romantic partners. I just saw them, these two main female characters, as golfers, right? They're playing golf, right? And you know they love playing against each other, right? Because they see themselves as rivals and all that, right? And then you get way later on in the series, things get more and more Yuri. Alright, things get more and more, you know, spicy between them. And obviously by the end of the first season, at least, season 2 hasn't come out yet. It's going to come out this year at some point. I'm excited because Birdie Wing is great. But you know, basically things get spicy between them, and it becomes very obvious by the end that there's a love dynamic between them. There's a relationship dynamic between them. And I bet this is something that most people first saw in the first couple of episodes, but I didn't until episode 12, until, you know, no, 12 was probably the last episode, okay. During the latter half of the episodes is when I noticed, wait a minute, these two seem like they like each other. Romantically, as in, not just as rivals. I mean, I thought they were just friends, right? Two girls hanging out, love playing golf. Nah, they actually like each other romantically. Okay, alright, well, alright. I didn't see it coming, basically. So even to me, if you go back to my reaction, or to when we learned that George is into Shannon, they were having these secret relations together. If you go back to that, you'll probably see that I was very shocked back then. I was very shocked going, whoa, George into Shannon? Okay, well, okay, I didn't see that one coming, because I truly didn't. And I didn't see Jessica being with Connor either. That one I especially didn't see coming. So I wonder what else. I wonder what other taboo, I say taboo, what other relationship things can happen that I haven't seen coming. I'm sure there's more, and I'm blind to them because I'm not good at detecting love from others and from myself. And that's why I've said this before. I'm pretty sure I've said this before when reading Umineko too. And that is, I'm very dense when it comes to love. So if someone is in love with me, good luck delivering the message to me. Good friggin' luck. Unless you're pretty direct, I am not gonna catch it. And let us just say, I'm saying this a little bit out of experience. A little bit. Let's just say, I'm not gonna talk about that story of mine right now. I'm not going to talk about, you know, maybe in the past there was a person that was in love with me, but they didn't communicate, or maybe they tried to and I didn't notice. Listen, I won't talk about that right now. But I will say I am dense, and it's something that I never would have seen coming. Alright, that's all I'll say. So maybe I was given hints, but I didn't notice. They were not being direct enough. I'm sorry. So hey, but I'll leave it at that. Alright? And I'm just saying this right now in case anyone out there watching is wondering, alright, how do I make my move on Amin? In case, you know, maybe you're watching this and you're Beatrice and you're, hey, well, Amin, I'm in love with you, and you want to communicate that through me. I don't know, if you comment under my videos, I don't know, I don't know, Bea's such a great character, don't you think, Amin? Or, Eva's such an interesting mother, right? And within those messages, you try to leave out some indication that you're in love with me. So you're trying to get me to send a message through to me. I'm done. I'm never. You can send me those comments for a year, 2 years, however long. I am not gonna see it until you shit up say, yo, Amin, I love you. And even then, I might think you're being sarcastic. You guys probably right now, but you guys right now watching are probably going to comment, Amin, I love you. And maybe one of you will mean it. Probably most of you won't. You're going to be completely sarcastic, and I'm going to take your comment as sarcasm. Right? You literally tell me directly, and I still will think it's probably sarcasm. There's no way they actually love me, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's rough. It's rough out here. But Yeah, do not ask me about my relationship status, by the way. So, you know, don't what? All right, let's just, let's just get into this. Back to Minako. Recap last part. I've definitely waffled at the start of this part here. We should really get onto this. So, here we go. The violent lightning and rain made time freeze. So this is after George is fighting Eva, right? His own mother. George's beautiful kick had stopped an inch from Eva's chest. However, the power of the red magic circles surrounding George had already pierced Eva's body. Though he had stopped without hitting her, blood poured out of Eva's back. No wound had been left on her chest, but the heart inside it had been struck through. Eva slumped backwards and landed in a puddle with a splash. There were no convulsions. Her life had been ended without leaving her even an instant to writhe about in pain. Gap? I know there's someone over there. Oh? Is Gap about to take away Eva Teach's body? As he straightened his glasses, George spoke to the rose thicket behind him. Are we gonna have a rematch? Gab versus George part 2? Continuation from episode 4? But nah, I'm already salty about that because I was strict. I genuinely thought George had the upper hand against her. Against this little booger. Teleporting woman. Witch. Demon, I should say. And, she was tricking him all along. And me, and the reader. I thought George was really getting it. But, nah. She destroyed him. Then a pitch black hole opened in the air there and Gab jumped out.
大したもんね。あのエヴァ・ベアトリーチェを継承前とはいえ打ち倒すなんて。
Even considering that it was before her ascension, he managed to defeat Eva Beatrice.
やはりいたか。余計なちょっかいを出さなくてありがとう。親子水入らずで過ごせ。
Thanks for not interfering. I'm glad we were able to keep it between mother and son.
まさかいなかったわよ。私今あなたが私を召喚したんだわ。
My bad for doing that. I wasn't here. You summoned me just now.
どっちでもいいさ。君にお願いがあるんだ。
I have something to ask of you.
聞く義理はあるの？
Do you have some duty to listen?
聞いてくれないのか。
Will you not do this for me? Says George, okay. With his back still facing her, George reset his glasses. Bro thinks he's cool, resetting his glasses. Okay. The threat in his voice held the solemn presence of a king who ruled over demons. His Majesty made Gab gulp, and she licked her lips before bowing respectfully to his back. That's right. That's right. Give George his respect. He's him. I love how I was just disrespecting George and now I'm right. I like studs. Well, George is a stud. Hey, there you go. Oh, okay. George is a monarch. Your wish is my command, your demonic majesty. I want you to lay her body to rest in a place fitting for a woman who admired the head of the Shiromya family and who lived her life with the misguided dreams of that position. So you get to study then? No. That never opened VIP room on the second floor of the mansion. That's where Beato stayed at in episode 2, right? That was her room. As you wish, your majesty. That's right. Give George respect. Let's go. Gab approached Eva's corpse and lightly tapped the ground with her right heel. Pep pep. Teleport. Alright, when she did, a large hole opened up, swallowed both Gop and the corpse, and closed. So I guess Eva's one of the murders of the first Twilight. After a while, a small hole opened in the air, and the staff Eva always carried, which was marked with the one-winged eagle that symbolized the head of the Shuma family, was spat out into a puddle. Because the corpse would no longer have any use for it. George slowly approached that staff and stepped down hard on the tip. When he did, the staff spun violently into the air, and after passing by the blue moon which honored the Demon King, it flew into George's outstretched hand. Go on, George. The instant he grasped it, another fierce bolt of lightning struck nearby. And by the time the flash faded, the staff he was holding had become a spray of gold butterflies and disappeared. It was as though George had held the staff up to the heavens and brushed it out of existence.
これで僕はノルマクリアだ。次の人に番を譲るよ。
自分の母さんを手にかけるなんて。
I can't believe you killed your own mother. Hey! If it gets him to marry the girl he loves, then there you go, Jessica. That's the sort of resolve he's ready for.
自分を世界で一番最初に愛してくれる人であり、そして一番最後に決別すべき人だ。それが家を出るということ。これが僕が作用をめとるために見せられる勇気だ。
ジョージ様。
あっぱれなり後ろ宮ジョージ。まずは見事であるぞ。
Yeah, you're impressed, Beato? Well, elder Beato, older sister.
たとえゲーム上のこととはいえ、駒のこととはいえ、自分の母親を殺すのは愉快なことではない。しかし、それが君たちの課す試練だと言うから、僕は答えている。
He stared at the two demons. The demons looked at each other, then showed their surprise with their now familiar exaggerated gestures.
素晴らしいわ。なんて見事なのかしら、ゼタル。
You think?
そうだね、フルフル。
Furu-furu.
ジョージ君の決意は本物だ。どうやら僕は君を見誤っていたようだね。謝るよ、許してほしい。
George chose not to go along with this almost theatrical conversation. He just quietly looked down upon the game board, found the piece representing his mother, which was right next to his, and tipped it over. This was the trial that Zepar and Furfur had set them. Furfur. For the love of each other, to take the life of another. It was similar to the game within Beato's fourth game. Yeah? Where they were each given 3 options as part of a test to select the next family head. However, a pair of lovers would never abandon each other's lives. So, they were automatically left with just the option of sacrificing the life of another instead. In fact, it was merciful that the demons hadn't ordered them to take the lives of everyone other than themselves. And besides, it only meant taking those lives as pieces on the board. For the versions of themselves to whom the game board was the only world, this was a tragic parricide. But for these ones who sat around the game board in this witch's tea room, it was nothing more than a movement of the pieces, representing George's will to overcome his parents. So, we've created a new meta world then, is what's going on here. We've created yet another meta world, which is wild, right? Because now we don't only have the Featherine world with the Angie. That is also the world with Amakusa and the outside world within it, because it's a world of future from episode 3. So that's like 2 meta worlds in one. Then we have the meta world within the forgeries. The meta world as in with Battlers in it, and he's the game master. Then we have the meta world, which is the actual game board. Then we have the meta world with Check Beato and Elder Beato, which is now being combined with this meta world, where some of the pieces from the game board are now in a meta world where they can toss, play, and take out the pieces from the game board's meta world. This is insane, bro. This episode has been stacked with just meta worlds, bro. However, even if it was just a single life within one of an infinite number of fragment worlds, the fact remained that the demons had forced him to take it. George appeared to have distanced himself from the events on the demon's game board. But Jessica still seemed to resist the idea of stealing another person's life, even if it was only their life as a game piece.
おじけづいたか？
いえ、バトラさんの望むベアトリーチェはこんなことでは臆したりしません。
さあ、次は誰が試練に挑戦を？誰でもいい。次なる犠牲者を選び出してほしい。
Do you choose the next victim? It can be anyone.
誰でもいい。次なる挑戦者は名乗り出てほしい。
誰も名乗り出ないなら
僕の勝ちということだね。
そうなる？ならばおめでとう、後ろ宮ジョージ。
あなたとあなたの愛する人の恋の成就へ至る扉の鍵を。僕たちは今こそ授けん。
待てよ。
As the demons delightedly named George as the victor, they were interrupted by the next challenger.
ジェシカさん。
Yeah, check Beato. Watch as Jessica goes at it.
次は私だぜ。いいぜ、やってやろう。
She's game.
私だってカノン君のこと半端に考えてるわけじゃねえってこと見せてやろう。
You know, I just noticed Jessica's blonde, right? And so is Beato, but forget Beato for now. Jessica's blonde, and her mother's not, but her father is. So that's where she got her hair color from, right? Isn't that an awfully, you know, rare thing in Japan for Japanese people to have blonde hair? I mean, isn't that extremely rare if they even exist? Japanese people with blonde hair. I mean, I'm sure they exist, but are they pure Japanese at that point? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously blonde hair is extremely common in Norway, for example. Norwegians, very common, probably the most common hair color, right? Blonde. But in Japan, that's gotta be extremely rare and in fact non-existent unless you're mixed with someone else or you're not Japanese but you live in Japan, right? So how does that work? Her name is Ishima Jessica, sure, but we know how the names work in Japan, right? You know it's Western names because Kinzo's a big Western fan. So, but to be fair, Kinzo's hometown, I did theorize that it was London. To be fair, the 6 letter shoes of the kid. It was London. What if Kinzo really is from the West? His name is just Ushima Kinzo, and Kinzo all along is actually blonde, and that's why Cross is blonde. But I don't know how to explain hair colors, because, okay, Kinzo's... We don't know what Kinzo's hair color actually is, because, you know, he's just, we've always just seen him having white hair, because he's old, right? So, he's got Cross, his oldest son, who's blonde. Which, again, weird, isn't it? You know, I question that. Blonde hair color, was Kinzo blonde as well? Is Kinzo really Japanese? You know what I mean? Is Kinzo's hometown really within Japan? What if it's actually Europe, and that's why he's such a big fan of the Western stuff, right? He's actually from Europe. Then that's Kinzo, and then you don't only have Kinzo, right? You have I mean, you got Cross from that, but then you have Eva, who's got weird red orange hair-ish, right? Not fully like red like Batter's. Batter's more like auburn, more red. Hers is more brown orange-ish, right? Eva's hair. And George, I guess, got his hair from his dad, which is black, so whatever, or yeah, whatever. So you got Eva, alright? And then you have Rudolph, who's, again, normal black hair, so not like either of his other siblings. And then Rose has brown hair. So, I can't believe Rose and Eva being siblings. Cross blonde hair, Rudolph black hair. How does that work? Now I'm beginning to question, do they all have the same mother? Do all 4 of these siblings have the same mother? Because they'll have such wildly different hair colors. I do want to question that within Batter's family too. Batter and Angie, they're supposed to be half siblings, right? But they have the exact same hair color, and they do kind of look alike in a way. You know, they both have blue eyes, they have a similar face. You know, both have red hair. I mean, it wouldn't be a shock at all if they are actually biological siblings. But they're supposed to be half siblings. But we know Batter's not actually Asumi's son. So it's this kind of thing. And, okay, well, Angie's supposed to be Kirie's daughter, right? Kirie doesn't have red hair though. Kirie has white hair. Which I don't know if that's bleached or not, but I don't think it is bleached because Kasumi, her sister, also had white hair. So it seems like to be a Sumadera family thing that they just have white hair, natural white hair. So then I'm beginning to question, okay, maybe we don't need to focus on hair color too much, because Umineko doesn't abide by those kind of rules. You know, it's anime rules where everyone can have whatever hair color they want regardless. So, because Rudolph has black hair, there's no way either Batter nor Angie, if Rudolph is their actual dad, that they inherited that red hair from him. It's gotta be either Asumi or Kirie. But if Asumi is not Batter's mother, then where did he inherit the red hair from? And where did Angie inherit the red hair from? What if Kirie is also not Angie's mother? What if Angie's mother and Batter's mother is the same mother? And it's neither Asumi nor Kirie. It's this third person, this third woman that we don't know of yet, that has red hair. Who has red hair in the story that we know of that could fit into that sort of description, that could give them that sort of hair color, right? I mean, yeah, you have Rosa and Eva, but that would be, not only would that be into the sesto, but it would also, their hair colors also don't exactly match. And yeah, I do wonder, am I focusing on the hair color a bit too much, or is that unimportant? You know what I mean? Is it an unimportant thing? Just, I mean, don't think about it too much, it's fine. Hair color stuff, whatever. You know what I mean? Only theorize based on what the story tells you, don't focus too much on appearances. Yeah, right? Then, okay, fine. I mean, I don't need to focus on their appearances too much, but they're supposed to be a family. They're all supposed to be biologically related, apparently, supposedly. Yeah, but okay. We'll move on, we'll keep reading. But yeah, just something I wondered after seeing that just gets blonde hair. But she's supposed to be Japanese, so. But, or you can just give me a fun fact. Maybe blonde hair in Japan is more common than I think. Maybe it's not as rare as I think it is. Maybe you can give me a fun fact that, hey, yo, Emi, by the way, there are actually blonde Japanese people, as in naturally blonde, born pure Japanese people. You know, no mixing, no nothing. Okay, all right. Didn't know. My bad. All right, my fault. Or it's a recent mutation. It's a mutation that's happened within the last 80 years. So Jessica's just one of those. Cross is just one of those mutations that has happened, and he's turned blonde hair. If so, what a lame mutation to just give us a hair color that we already have. Why not just mutate the hair color that we haven't seen yet? Like, I don't know, red or blue or something. Imagine that. Imagine, bro. Imagine being born Super Saiyan Blue from birth. That's a sick mutation. Don't just mutate the hair color we've already witnessed. You know what I mean? Because to begin with, blonde hair is a mutation. Right? To begin with, it's not the hair color that the first couple of humans had, right? So, I think, or I could be wrong. I don't know that much about biology, but yeah. Alright. Okay. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Glass break. Oh wow, really? That was really. I just need to click one more time, and I would have broken the glass instead of sat and waited and talked about whatever for just before the glass break. It's midnight. It's past midnight now. Romantic regrets. Sunday. All right. All right. All right. As usual, this year's family conference was getting bogged down. Everyone had decided to cool their heads for a moment, and a short break had been agreed upon. The four siblings could say whatever they wanted, but Natsu and Kirie, for example, were outsiders and found it difficult to speak freely in this sort of atmosphere. A conference where you aren't allowed to say what you want can be tiring, even as you just sit there quietly. Even Kirie couldn't help letting out a deep sigh. This was the second floor hallway of the mansion. Rudolph had wanted to be alone during the break, so she had felt like doing the same, and had drifted up the stairs to reach this place. Kirie, you are asking to be murdered. You are asking to be killed right here. Why have you gone up to the second floor alone? You culprit is gonna come right behind you and stabby, kill. And I love you, Kirie. I want you to live, because you're great and you're smart and we love you, so... But you're asking to get stabbed or killed, or probably not shot, but killed somehow. Strangled. You're gonna be killed. The murderer's out there. But okay. Her expression was less tightly controlled than it was when her husband was around. Kirie wore a tired look that she didn't often show. She pressed her forehead against the cool window glass. I need to regain my spirit and support my husband, even if I'm not allowed to speak. That's the duty of one. Uh-oh, it's the culprit! They're about to kill you! I was telling you, I'm warning you! You're about to die! If you're gonna come away from her, it's Jessica? Wait, what? Jessica? Why does Jessica have to confront Kirie about her relationship with Kanon? Why Kirie? Shouldn't it be Natsu? Would it be a lot more natural for Natsu to be gone off to the second floor to have a headache or something, and Jessica then confronts her mother? Or maybe Cross. Whatever. Why Kirie? What a weird dynamic. Jessica and Kirie? Okay. She suddenly sensed another person turn around and saw Jessica standing at the other end of the hallway. Is Jessica about to ask Kirie for love advice? Yo, how'd you get along with Rudolph? It's gonna be like you know, I know you two weren't together for 12 years or however long Asumi was with 12 years, right? Asumi with Rudolph 12 years. You weren't together for 12 years. How did you manage to raise him up in the end? How did you manage to murder Asumi and raise up Rudolph in the end, alright? To give birth to Angie. Well, how did that happen? Didn't you go to the guest house? I just decided to head back to my own room for a bit to get a book. And now you're on your way back to the guest house. So obviously that's a lie, so what's Jessica's plan into? That's right.
嫌な雨ね。風はだいぶ強いのかしら。
But horrible rain. Is the wind really strong?
今は比較的弱いみたいです。
It's weak right now, relatively speaking. As Kiria looked out the window, Jessica watched her back, looking agitated.
キリエおばさん、ごめんよ。運がなかったと思ってくれ。
Now, okay, you're just straight up sacrificing Kiria's life. Okay, well, wow. Jessica sacrificing Kiria's life. That's weird, because George had to sacrifice the life that would have been hardest for him to sacrifice, his own mother. And she has to sacrifice her aunt, in law, not even her biological, you know, her blood-related aunt, not even. I mean, not that killing her makes it much easier than killing Rudolph, or, you know, but if Jessica had been given a Nazi, her mother, or Cross, her father, it would have been a lot tougher for her, but okay.
ジェシカの運命のルーレットはキリエを選んでしまったわ。
Jessica Roulette of Fate has chosen Kiria. Alright. So these are the first Twilight murders are gonna go down. I wonder who Chick Beto is going to get to kill.
どうするんだいジェシカ。ルーレットはキリエを選んだけど、それを拒否して再びルーレットを回すのも君の勝手さ。
Nah, that will show weak resolve. And also, it could land on someone even worse, like one of her parents. So, she's gotta do what she's gotta do.
試練に捧げるのは誰の命でも問わないのだから。
Jessica wasn't like George. George had willingly chosen Eva to be his sacrifice, to signify his separation from his old life so that he could step into a new life with Mary Duchamp. However, Jessica hadn't thought of any particular target, so she had left it up to the roulette of fate. That roulette was nothing very grandiose. She had simply walked around at random, imposing a rule on herself saying that the first person she met would be chosen as a sacrifice. And so, the roulette of fate had brought her to Kiria as the first person she met. Of course, there was nothing forcing her to keep to that rule. However, it was a rule that she had decided upon, and she didn't want to break it now. Now that she was participating in this demon's game, this was the one bit of justice that she could cling to. Right now, she could attack that unprotected back, but Jessica still wasn't able to fully resolve herself. Jessica, you know that if you can't resolve yourself to kill Kiria, you won't get that relationship you want with Kanon.
どうしたの？何か私に話でも？
You have something to say to me. Noticing Jessica's strange silence, Kiria turned around. That unprotected back was already gone. Jessica realized that her hesitation had cost her her own first chance. She had taken on this demon's game to prove her love for Kanon. However, would it really be alright to sell her soul to demons for the sake of love? Not wanting to let George, who had already come to terms with the situation, get any more of a lead on her, she had energetically consented to this demon's game. But her heart still wasn't ready.
キリエおばさんにこんな質問まずいかな。
Maybe I shouldn't be asking you this, Auntie Kiria?
何？ジェシカちゃんが私に質問なんて珍しいわね。
It's fair for you to ask me questions, Jessica-chan. Well, does Jessica really ask questions to any of her aunts or uncles? Has Jessica ever asked Eva a question? Or Hideyoshi? That would be strange. What a strange dynamic that would be. Jessica and Hideyoshi? Ugh. What about Jessica and Rosa? You know what I mean? Does she typically ask questions from people that... We haven't even seen her interact a lot with her father, you know? Isn't that strange? It feels so naturally. Obviously, you know, parent, son and daughter interacting. We haven't seen that much this visual novel. We've seen plenty of not seen Jessica, mother and daughter like that. We've never seen Jessica with her father. Although we haven't seen that much cross screen time to begin with, sure, I guess, but you know, we've seen Rudolph Batter. We've seen a bit of Kitty and Batter too, especially in the earlier episodes. Not as much in the newer episodes. Since episode 4 we had that one little scene between them, but episode 1 and 2 we had quite a bit of Kitty and Batter scenes together. I remember. But yeah, Rosa and Maria, yeah, they have a whole journey together, and then Eva and George, and even Hideyoshi and George, they interact with each other quite a bit. I feel like, but you know, and Wilf and Battle interact. So it's and Nazi and Jessica interact. So the only parent-child dynamic that I don't see much interaction between is Jessica and Cross, her father. I haven't seen much of that personally.
答えられるものだといいんだけれど。
I hope I'm capable of answering it for you.
実は私
Could you kill yourself for
好
me?
きな人がいるんです。
Actually, I have someone I like. Yeah, I have someone I like, and to be able to continue that relationship and love him forever, I need you to kill yourself. Can you do that? And then I won't have to kill you. Then I'll feel less guilty. Wink. Cool. Thumbs up.
あら、そうなの？それは素敵ね。まさか恋の相談なの？
Then is it love you wanted to talk about?
そんなところです。
Yeah, pretty much.
いいわよ。私でよければ力になるわ。
I'll help out if I can. This is the woman that has had 18 years of jealousy on her, alright? She's powerful, Jessica. Good luck. She took down Leviathan with ease.
ありがとうございます。実はそれで
まだ片思いなの？
いえ、そこから両思いになりたてって感じのとこです。ただ結ばれるには試練があって。
Oh, she's just being completely honest. Next, she's just gonna straight up say, yeah, and I kinda need you to die. I was joking about that earlier, but it seems like that's the route she's going. Alright, straight up, hey, you need to die.
試練？何それ？
私たちともう一組の恋人たちがいて、争わなくちゃならないんです。
三角関係？それとも四角関係？
Not quite. I love rectangle. I don't know.
複雑そうね。
Sounds complicated. I mean.
それで？
Okay.
勝った方の恋人同士しか結ばれない。そういう複雑なことになってるんです。つまり
嫌な話ね。相手を踏み台にしてしかどちらも成就できない恋なのね。
はい。自分たちが結ばれれば相手が破綻します。そして逆もしかりです。
質問の趣旨が大体分かったわ。こういうことでしょ？人は幸せになるためにどこまで他者を踏み台にすることが許されるのかでしょ
It was once again apparent just how smart Kitty was. She immediately figured out the question that Jessica wanted to ask most.
戦わなければ自動的に相手が勝ってジェシカちゃんたちは負けになる。しかし戦って勝てば相手を破綻させることになる。どちらも嫌な話ね。でも聞くまでもなく答えは決まっているわ。
But the answer is obvious. The answer is indeed obvious, to be fair. But just because it is obvious doesn't mean it's easy to execute.
はい。
Katie giggled. If she wasn't willing to commit to her love, then that would show the measure of the relationship. If that was the case, she should just let the other pair of lovers win. However, if this was a love she couldn't abandon the victory either. So, she had no option but to fight. In the end, Jessica's hesitation was caused by guilt, over forcing the others to split apart as the result of her inevitable decision.
やっぱり私は甘えているでしょうか。
I guess I'm just being soft after all. True, you can also twist it and look at it from another perspective. You're being kind, right? You're trying to be understanding for another pair of people.
そうね、甘えてるわ。
でも自分たちが結ばれるために誰かを踏み台にするなんて、そんなの辛いです。
じゃあジェシカちゃんは恋のお相手を諦める？
Will they give up on them? By the way, it's ironic that she mentions this to Kiria because Kiria's gone through exactly this, right? Where, for her at least, it must have felt like Rudolph and Awesome were stepping over her when they were together for however many years and they gave birth to battle and everything. Before then, Kiria eventually was able to come back around and curse Awesome to death and then finally get married to Rudolph herself. Will you give up on them?
それは
断言するわ。その方が辛いわよ。地獄を這うことになる。生涯ね。
A hardness had entered Kiria's gaze.
私は6歳だったから当時は何もわからなかったけれど、遺品の中にお母さんの手記があったわ。
What did that notebook say? Why are you telling us this right now, Angie? Let me know what that notebook said!
それは日記のようなものか。どちらかというと随想録ね。日記よりももっとアバウトなものよ。亡くなってすぐにそれを見つけて読んだけど、その意味を理解できるようになるには長い時間と私の成長を待たなければならなかったわ。なるほど、キリエの夫婦仲についての悩みが記されていたというのか。あれは完全にお母さんの呪い帳よね。
Curses?
その中身は6歳の私がずっと漠然と感じていた疑問を次々に表解させてくれたわ。
Like what? When I was 6, it seemed as though my parents were very close and had no problems. And though I did think it odd that Oni-chan lived separately when he was meant to be a part of our family, and I did wonder why he only came home every once in a while, I accepted it as the way things were.
アスムのことは知らなかったのか。
Did you not know about Asumu? Mm-hmm.
お兄ちゃんが誰もいない時に話してくれたような気がするけど、小学校前の私にそれが理解できるはずがない。だって写真すらない相手よ。お母さんはアスムさんの写った写真の全てをお兄ちゃんに送って、家の中には一切残さなかったそうだから。
Mom had sent all the pictures with Asumu's son in them to Oni-chan, leaving none behind in the house. I don't think it was just because she wanted to give all of them to Battler. It's also because she didn't want to see pictures of Asumi, right? Because it reminded her of all the years she couldn't be with Rudolph. So in a way, she just gave them to Battler because you have him. I don't want to see her. I don't want to see her being with my husband. She stole him away from me. All right. In front of Angie, and even in front of Battler, who only rarely came home, Kiria's smile never faltered. If she hadn't written her thoughts in that notebook, Angie would probably never have known them. What was in that notebook? Rudolph had been particularly popular with the opposite sex since his school days, a typical playboy. God damn it, Rudolph! Audacious, over the top, and yet not lacking a little gentleness towards women. He had probably built up a formula for getting women to like him. Right. Plenty of women approached him, using various seductive tricks to try to win his favor. So basically, Rudolph probably enjoyed that more than anyone. So basically, Rudolph had W-Riz. Rudolph is literally the embodiment of W-Riz. He raised all these women up. He's just got Riz, bro. He's the opposite of Burncastle. We're gonna find now that Rudolph is the antithesis of Burncastle. They're the opposite people. They are the exact opposite people, right? Burncastle, Elriz. 1,000 years, she hasn't dated anyone, she hasn't married anybody for 1,000 years. Elriz, horrific. Rudolph, how old is Rudolph? 50 years old? 2 marriages. W-Riz, and all the women were going after him. That's W-Riz right there. So Rudolph, he's got it, alright? But Burncastle sucks. Friggin' Erica has better Riz than Burncastle. We just learned recently she had a boyfriend and a girl that she used to like before. And now she's even confessed to London already? Burncastle, how about you confess to Lambda Delta? Why is it taking you so long to confess to Lambda Delta? I bet there's something going on there. Elris from friggin' Burncastle. Man. But Rudolph was visiting the women, so that's good for him, man. And he's enjoyed that, but most of all, if he isn't like Rudolph, and he isn't, you know, because Rudolph isn't like George, I just said if Rudolph isn't like Rudolph. If Rudolph isn't like George, because, you know, we saw last part how George was a firm believer of, you know, making sure, you know, of marriage before, you know, you consummate it and, you know, give birth to a child, right? But if Rudolph isn't with that George mindset, I do hope he was, you know, in his youthful days, let's say, he was wearing protection and all that. Since the beginning, love had been a game to Rudolph. He never thought of it as a trial and error process to find a single life partner. So yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like George, right? They have a different, they had at least a different outlook on things. He would intentionally spark jealousy between women and revel in the harem, lapping off their flirting. Damn. God damn, Rudolph. He not only had W-Riz, he was toying with them, bro. He was toying with their emotions. Damn, man. He may be my father, but he was an awful man, yeah. By the way, I do not support that behavior. I do not condone that behavior. You know, I may be complimenting his Riz, but don't do that. If you're in that situation, don't do that. Don't purposely spark jealousy between women. Alright, if you know they're both into you, don't do that. Try to handle it with care, because love hurts. Okay, it really does hurt when you know, when someone doesn't properly love you back, and it hurts even more when you learn that the person you love is just toying with your you know, with your emotions, right? Because it hurts, right? And we see that with the culprit of the story. We see how much love can hurt. So Rudolph, chill out, or else you get another murder going on.
でもお父さんも同時に媚びへつらう女の子たちをきっと見下してもいたのね。そんな中に自分の価値観をしっかりと持ち知性を見せるお母さんが目立って見えた。
Stood up more than Asumi? Why'd he marry Asumi for 12 years then?
それすらもルドルフの目を引きたいキリエの知恵かもしれぬがな。
True, because we know Kirio was really in love with Rudolph, and Asumi. What did Asumi do? Why was Asumi so special that Rudolph got her instead of Kiria? It's not like the Sumadera family are bad off. What's going on with Asumi's family? Is Asumi's family more wealthy than the Sumadera family or something? We don't know anything about Asumi, so.
かもね。お母さんはいろいろな意味で頭が良かったから。
I think that's part of the reason why you're so smart too. You know, you got a smart mother, you know, smart mother, smart daughter, right? That's how that works always. So a lot of times. So you know what I mean? But Age is smart, but she's smart in a different way than Kitty is. I like it. They're both intelligent though. Unfortunate that they both die relatively young, especially Angie. She dies when she's 18, so rough. That's rough. Like the other Shiromi siblings, Rudolph had strong ambitions and lofty goals. Under the mottos of who dares wins and it's not a crime if you don't get caught. That's a again bad mindset. I do not want you guys to support or to follow Rudolph's mindset and views here. Oh, that's wild. He would set up businesses that were borderline swindles or bending the law, then bail out of them and repeat the process over and over. Apparently he was already making use of that talent in his college years, cleverly making money by thinking up shameless projects and selling cheap tickets to parties for them. So much money that he could brag about how his wallet was always stuffed with 110,000 yen notes. So 110,000 yen notes. So you're saying a million then. A million yen. So that would be $10,000. Okay, $10,000, but 100 of them. So $100. Must have been $100 then. He had with him $100. Cause that would be alright, great. Moving on. 110,000 yen notes, great. So each yen note was $100, great. Many women fell for his charisma in being the man responsible for these radical projects, as well as his thick wallet and generosity. See, thick wallet definitely is a big thing with raising up women. That's true. A lot of people have realistically L raise, but money helps so much. I mean, if having a lot of money automatically makes you not have L raise. You know what I mean? Or someone that really does have W raise. The risk goes down if they're poor, if they're broke. That's how it is. It's how it is, you know. Having a lot of money is part of the W risk. It's part of it. So for sure, you know, people will fall for women, especially will fall for the money. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm not saying there's something wrong with pursuing someone who's wealthier, right? Because obviously you want the best future for yourself and for a future family that you're gonna build. So of course, it will be more attractive for you to go after someone that has a lot of money. It's not like this is wrong in the opposite for the opposite gender either, or the opposite sex, as the visual novel puts it. It's not like, you know, men don't want to go after women that have a lot of money. It's just the society's pressuring those roles differently, where the man is the one who's supposed to be pressured to be the one who's supposed to make a lot of money, right? That's why the whole dynamics work that way. Anyway, we all know what this. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. We all know. Whatever. Moving on. Society's complex. All right. Moving on. We'd be a lie to say that Kirie was not one of them. However, what made Kirie very different from the other women was that she could also support Rudolph as a business partner. Rudolph would laugh all the way to the bank as his large-scale party succeeded. His female entourage would surround him, and Kirie would be the only one among them able to calmly point out several ways that income and expenditure could be improved upon, and even lay out a proposal for the next project.
そうしてルドルフにパートナーとして次第に認められていくわけであるか。
So why did he not marry her at the start? Why Asubu?
男子厨房に入るべからずっていうように、女もまた財布に入るべからずって空気はあるわよね。
And Kirie proves that wrong, because she's got great sense.
女はおごられて当たり前。男の出す1万円札をどうやって捻出しているかは野暮だから聞かない、知らない、興味もない。
キリエは金に対する価値観が男性的であったということだ。
In that regard, Rudolph noticed something unique about Kirie. Okay, so Kirie did care about how that money came from, and actually, okay. Could that work the other way around? Could a trick to raising up women be showing off your cooking skills. You know what I mean? Just like how Kiria managed to raise up Rudolph, who's already great at raising up women. How she was able to stand out. Will you be able to stand out by being great at cooking? That's that's an interesting thing to ask yourself. He knew all about how much hard work it took to make just one of those 10,000 yen notes. So somewhere inside him, he looked down upon those extravagant women who never even considered the efforts he had undertaken. Among all of them, only Kiria possessed the same sharp financial intuition as Rudolph. Every time Rudolph thought of a new plan, he would talk to Kiria about it, work out the kinks, and make it succeed. In this way, Kiria steadily worked her way up until she was the #1 of Rudolph's large group of followers. Large group of women followers, holy crap. Bro built up his own cult for a while there.
でもお母さんだって女。他の女たちにチヤホヤされてるお父さんを見て心が安らいでたかどうかは疑わしい。ナンバーワンよりオンリーワンの方が良いというもの。そういうこと。お母さんはお父さんの右腕として活躍しながらも、その陰では狡猾に他の女性を切り離していったわ。お母さんの恋の成就はもはや時間の問題だった。
So why did Asumi not succeed instead, huh?
アスムはいつからいたのか。
This is what I've been asking for the last 20 minutes or whatever. How did Asumi come in? How did she raise them up?
ルドルフさんに取り巻きの一人よ。いえ、取り巻いてさえいなかった。ただのファンの一人だった。
She was just one of his fans.
話したことはあるんですか？
Did you ever talk with her?
もちろん。私は彼女のことをよく知ってるわ。
I knew her well.
ルドルフさんがアスムさんの名前さえ知らなかった一番最初からね。あの子もきっと頭のいい子だった。狡猾だったわ。私は頭の良さで目立とうとしたけど、彼女は全くその逆で目立とうとした。
I tried to use my intelligence to stick it out, but she took the exact opposite approach.
頭の悪さ？
Her stupidity?
非語欲のかき立て方がうまいっていうの。
Shit, after that method, huh? She's like, alright, I'll get that manly instinct out of him to make him think, he's gonna protect me. That'll get me above these other women. Alright, Asumi.
こびてイチャついてくる女たちの中で、彼女の仕草の一つ一つが派手な女たちに触傷を起こしていたルドルフさんには目立って見えた。
Even now, Kitty had recognized the mistake she had made in letting Asumi and Rudolph get too close. Kitty had thought that by taking the role of his business partner, she had succeeded in making him entirely hers. She might have been a little conceited, and her arrogance in trying to eliminate the relationships the other girls had with Rudolph might also have contributed. Perhaps she sometimes tried too hard as a business partner, putting too much pressure on him, regardless of the fact that it was justified. Bit by bit, Rudolph started to need a woman who could stay quiet and soothe him, without making him think about anything complicated. Ooh. See, that's something. That woman was awesome. Yeah, okay. This is getting deep, alright. Yeah. Because this is, sure, intelligent woman, that's good, but sometimes, you just need to chill. You know what I mean? Stop talking about finance all the time. Stop talking about business. Alright? Sometimes I just wanna lay in your lap, you know, have you stroking my hair, and, you know, and chill. Alright? Dang, we could watch a movie together. Alright. Man, you're talking to me about the freaking schedule with the money we have together. Listen, that's too complicated for my head right now. Go make me some tea. Chill out. Hell yeah. That woman was awesome, man. Okay. See that? It's a delicate problem. It's a delicate problem. You gotta balance it out. Whew.
私は冷酷で知的、合理的で経済的、カルメアデスの船板のような状況にあったら躊躇なく相手を蹴落とす。そんなパートナーがあの人にはふさわしいと思っていた。
I thought that was the kind of partner suitable for him. However, though that ruthlessness had made her reliable on the business side of things, outside of business, it might have disturbed Rudolph deeply. At some point, though Rudolph still acknowledged Kiria's skill, he began to yearn for a quiet, warm acceptance. Asumi filled that role completely. She would never talk about anything complicated. Even if he did, she would just shake her head to say she didn't know. However, she would care more for him physically than anyone else, quietly putting a blanket on him and staying by his side until morning. Ooh, that's big! That's big! Showing proper care. Ooh, 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 ooh. Kiria, how are you gonna step up to that?
確かに私はビジネスのパートナーの座を手に入れ
You gotta stick up to that. Ah, Kiria. Ah, yeah. She's gonna get the upper hand. And we know she did get the upper hand in the end. She's the one that got the marriage. She's the one that got the ring. That's a rivalry.
しかしいつしかルドルフさんには心を癒してくれるメンタルのパートナーが必要になっていた。私は愚かしくも知的を自称しながらそれに気づけずにいたわ。
Foolishly enough, despite claiming to be the intellectual one, I never noticed.
それでルドルフおじさんはアスムおばさんと結婚を。
And then Uncle Rudolph married Aunt Asumi. Not Natsumi. That's something. Aunt Asumi. Did we get to see how she looks like, by the way, ever? Asumi?
ええ、そうね。取られた。
She's still away from me. Oof! That's gonna hurt your heart. Oof! Hey, you got him back after 12 years, though. You just had to wait 12 years. Just for her to die. Just enough, just about.
たくさんの女をはべらしていたもの。
Okay, so he definitely did not have the George mindset. Definitely did not have the George mindset. Which is why, like I said earlier, I do hope he was using protection. You know, because he does not have the George mindset of wait until marriage. So, okay.
今さらどこの女と遊んだって情を移すような人じゃない。それにあの人にとって女なんて遊びでしかなかったもの。
Fair enough.
だからこそ私は体以外を武器に自分の存在を示していた。
So that's how you attract a playboy, right? You can't, if you just use your body, you're just like every other woman out there. You gotta think creatively, and you did it, Kiria. But it's also complicated too, if it's just business all the time. Asumi, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm sure she also used her body too, but she also used the mental game, you know, the heart game, all right? That putting that blanket, staying with him until the morning. There's more to than just more to came for someone than just sleeping with them. Of course, sleeping with them is just a little thing, all right? You know what I mean? Like I said, making tea or something for them, or giving them cookies or whatever else. That's the small little caring things. Woo! Go a long way. Facts. Okay. So, the fact that Rudolph slept with a lot of women does leave room open for one of those women to be the woman that gave birth to Batman, right? it does open up that opportunity. And it does open up the opportunity for not just Battler, but also other children. Imagine Shannon and Connor are supposed to be orphans. Imagine Shannon and Connor are actually Rudolph's children. That'd be wild. That'd be a wild twist. But it's not impossible because, again, depends on how old they are. But we don't exactly know how old they are. We just think that's how old they are because that's what they said. But it doesn't necessarily have to be true. So, during one of his endeavors, sleeping with one of these women that were fans of him, one of them could have been giving birth to Battler. Maybe at some point one of those women could have been Kiria. Maybe Kiria is Battler's mother, like had maybe theorized. And if Kiria is actually Battler's mother, because that would prove that Rudolph was just, he must have kind of cheated on his wife for a second there, Osmi, right? I guess it depends on when he married Osmi, but that would mean Battler did not come out of Osmi's womb. So did any child come out of Osmi's womb? How did Rudolph manage to fool his entire family that Battler is actually Osmi's son and not Kiria's son, if that is what happened? But yeah, Kanon and Shannon being Rudolph's children would be an interesting twist. That would be something. Okay. Conceit, a woman's downfall. You're speaking from experience there, Featherine. Wait! What? Wait! Wait, they're both pregnant? Right, of course. No. We know this. We already know this. Why am I acting like this is new information? We already know this. Because supposedly, Kitty had a miscarriage 18 years ago. Yeah, I call cap. I've already talked about this, but I do think that miscarriage never happened. I do think because they fell pregnant at the same time. Yeah, Asumi was because Asumi's not Battler's mother. Asumi had a miscarriage, and Kiria was the one who actually gave birth to Battler. That's what I theorized initially, but and we'll add up with with him having the exact same hair color and eye color and stuff as Angie. Battler and Angie do look alike, so it would make sense for them to have both shared mother and father. But how would that dynamic work with Asumi, and how did they manage to fool the family for so many years, or probably until they all died? That that Battler is Asumi's son.
身重になることがビジネスパートナーの座を揺るがすことになりかねないと恐れたのだな。
Right, so they fell pregnant at the same time. When did they marry each other though? When did when did Rudolph marry Asumi? Was it after Asumi fell pregnant? Does that mean that technically Rudolph never actually cheated on Asumi because he was just a playboy, right? There were multiple girls, they all wanted to bang him. He banged Kiria, he banged Asumi, and they both fell pregnant. That's tough. That's tough. And then he married Asumi, which would then make Rudolph not actually having cheated on anybody. Again, I do not condone Rudolph's action. That is, he is, like Angie said, Rudolph is an awful person for that either way. But and yeah, he really should have done a better job using protection then. Especially because he's a Ishinomiya family member, right? He's an Ishinomiya family member. He really should have done a better job using protection. That you can't just be riskily, I mean, this is not the most proper word to say it with, but you can't just be producing children. I know producing is an awful word for this, but you know what I mean, right? When you're Ushiromiya Rudolph, son of Ushiromiya Kinzo himself, you know what I mean? You can't just be doing that, right? I mean, if that is where Shannon and Kanon come from, then that would be something. Because who's to say that Kiria and Asuma are the only ones that fell pregnant? What if Kanon and Shannon are twins, and Rudolph banged another woman, and they're twins from this other woman? Do we know any other woman that would be a potential target for that, though? Maybe Featherine herself? How old is Featherine? How old is Hachijo Toya? We don't know much about her. But this would have been a long time ago. Is Hachijo Toya / Featherine or whatever old enough to have been a potential partner for Rudolph? What, 16 years ago? 18 years ago? Would it have been possible? Featherine. But Karan and Sharon don't particularly look like Featherine though. They don't have the same hair or eye color. But I guess that doesn't matter. This is Umineko. This is anime logic. That doesn't matter. As long as it's a potential. How old is Featherine though? Because if I had to guess, right? She's probably in her mid-30s. She's probably around Rosa's age, if I had to guess. And at max, she's around Natsu's age. So younger than Eva. By 3 years. At max, I would say, probably. So between the early mid-30s to, well, late 40s range, right? That's probably how old she is. And if that's true, how old is Kiria? If Hachijo Toya or Featherine is 40 years old, let's say, that would have made her around early 20s, I guess. But then she'd have to be 40 years old. Is Featherine 40 years old? Not Featherine. Featherine's a 1,000-year-old witch. We know this. But Hachijo Toya, is she a 40-year-old witch? Whatever thing. I guess. I don't know. From her appearance alone, I can tell she's older than Angie at least. But I can't tell how much. Her age range can change a lot because again, this is anime style. I don't know how old she is. Okay, let's just keep reading for now. We can hear a lot about the birth of Batter and Angie and all that, but okay.
当時のお母さんは食が細くて体調不良とか当たり前だったみたいだから解任に気づくのも随分遅れた
Did that take a really long time before she realized she was pregnant?
気づいたの
When did she notice? How many weeks or even months did it take? Could it take you months to realize? I guess it could. I guess it technically could take you months to realize that you're pregnant. I guess.
アスムさんとお父さんが電撃入籍をしてからよ
It was after Asmi-san suddenly moved into Dad's family register.
お母さんがその後に妊娠を知ってアスムさんやお父さんを揺さぶろうと随分暗躍したみたいだけどアスムさんあんなにぼんやりしてそうなルドルフさんを加え込んだら話はしないだから何ですかどうぞお引き取りくださいですね
And you got hoed. You got wrecked.
バス一つ乗るにも怖い怖いと縮こまってたあの小娘
She got the W though, Kiria. You can't deny that. She got the dub. Sissy little girl who curled up into a ball every time she got into a bus.
あの時悟ったわ本当に狡猾だったのは彼女だったそうよ乗り物恐怖症だってルドルフさんの気を引くための嘘だったわごめんなさいこんな話を聞いてもつまらないわ
My
ね
apologies must burn you. No! Keep talking, please. This is super interesting. This is one of the most interesting talk we've had. So I want you to keep going, please. Keep going.
いいせめて私の産む子だけでも認知させたかったわルドルフさんもそのつもりはあったみたい
Uh-huh.
病院もきっちり手配してくれたしアスムさんの出産が近づいても海外しく私のところにも来てくれてたってもはや向こうが本当の奥さんなのねひどい人だわ
What an awful man, really. After that is the tale I can't bear even to tell. Both Asmi and I had the same delivery date. What a coincidence, And yet, her pregnancy led to marriage, while mine was completely meaningless. Or was it though? I swore to bring up my child well, so that Rudolph's son would be proud to call himself its father. Its father. Okay. Obviously, genderless, sure, whatever. Because child. Alright. Asumi's son had won her battle against me. However, I hadn't yet lost the war. Yeah, by the way, if I was kid at that point, I'd just give up. Just find another man, but I'm like, why, why I have to settle on Rudolph? That's just me though. But hey, alright, whatever. Let's just keep reading. It's how things ended up in the end, alright? We have to accept it and move on. If I could make my child excel far more than Asumi's sons, if I could make my child the one that Rudolph's son most respected, I would be rewarded. That's what I believed.
しかしキリエの子は死産だった。
You say that.
ええ、アスムさんにはお兄ちゃんが生まれた。
You say that. That's the story. See, that's the story they give you. That's the lie they give you. But episode 4, we've read through episode 4 of Umineko when they cry and Umineko Naku Naku Koro ni. And we know that story is a lie.
しかしお母さんからは誰も。
Or did she?
お母さんのせめて第二夫人の座に残りたいという最後の希望は絶たれた。
Or was it? Was that really how things had happened? But Asumi gave birth to Oni-chan. No, she didn't! Listen, I have no evidence to prove the red truth, but the red truth is the truth. Asumi is not Battler's birth mother. So unless we got two Battlers going on, which we could, to be fair. We could have clonings of Battler, and it has been set up, I guess, so you can't use Nox's ace to say that it's wrong. So, okay, but then, if you have two Battlers, she's the second Battler. So you tell me we have one Battler that is Asumi's son, and we have another Battler that isn't? Or are they lying to us with their story? I reckon they're lying to us with their story. I reckon Asumi had a stillborn, and Kiria was the one who succeeded. I think Kiria's stomach was the one that worked better. I say stomach, I don't say stomach. I think Kiria's womb worked better than Asumi's womb in giving birth to Rudolph's child. And I think Kiria was the one that was successful. Kiria had fallen from his partner to his second wife. And then, unable to give birth to the bond of a child, she tumbled down to being merely his mistress. I can't imagine how much she must have hated Asumi and her child. Battler. Okay.
そんなのをお首にも出さず、お母さんはお兄ちゃんとも親しげに接してたわ。ショックだった。あの優しいお母さんがお兄ちゃんにそんな負の感情を持っていて、それを隠しおおせてたなんて。
憎かったであろうな、バトラーが。
でしょうね。もし死産がアスムさんで、お母さんの方がお兄ちゃんを出産していたなら、何か歴史は変わっていたかもしれない。
You think?
もしもそうだったなら、アスムさんと離婚させて、自分と再婚するようなシナリオを描きたいと思ってたみたい。
What if she tried to do that? What if she tried to kill, or she successfully killed Asumi's child, and then the entire story was that, okay, Asumi had a stillborn, Asumi's child had been stillborn, and Kiria did succeed, but then they were like, yoink your baby, yoink, it's ours, we're calling him Battler, and that's why he looks exactly like you, like he could be your biological brother, not half brother, full brother, how about that?
それも随想録にか。
Was it?
ええ、だからこそそれは随想、妄想。涙で濡らしたシーツの端を噛みながらのお母さんの連鎖。
後悔は一点だけ。
There's just one thing I regret.
解任ですか。
You mean the pregnancy? Nah,
違う違う、私のおごりだけよ。ルドルフさんはもう私のものだから絶対安全。あんなアスムなんていう小娘に負けるわけがない。
Rudolphson is already mine, so I'm completely safe. I'll never lose to the Osmi girl. Well, she's dead. She can't come back from the dead to beat you now, can she?
彼女がバスや飛行機でギャーギャーわめくとき、私はその手配と経費を適正に処理できた。だから私は一番ルドルフさんに信頼されているとおごり高ぶっていた。恋って育むって言うでしょ。
Love needs to be nurtured.
はい。
間違ってないわ。二人で水をやり世話をして育む、そして最後に結実するのが愛という名なの。知ってる？結実して終わりじゃないの？愛を収穫しなきゃ恋は成就したことにならないよ。
You have to harvest that love or it'll never be realized.
収穫って？
それはジェシカちゃんが考えなさい。実らせても収穫しなきゃ傷んで腐ることもある。虫がたかることだってもちろんあるわ。いいえ、それどころか盗っ人が現れてもぎ取っていってしまうことさえね。ジェシカちゃんたち若い子の恋愛観は育むところで終わってる。それは甘い。愛を収穫しなきゃ恋は報われる。それは一見愛し合う二人きりだけの問題に見えてそんなことはないのよ。だからいつ収穫しても自由なんていう先延ばしは盗っ人に機会を与えるだけ。
Okay, they're speaking from experience. Okay.
苦労して育てたのが翌朝にもぎ取られて亡くなっていたの。昨日のうちに面倒くさがらずに収穫しておけばよかったと後悔するはず。辛いわね、その後悔。地獄を飼うわ。
That's what Kiria had to do. She's speaking from experience, by the way.
私はこう、その地獄が18年で終わった。
Well, wasn't it 12? Didn't Osmi marry Rudolph 18 years ago? Then she died 6 years ago? She died 6 years ago. So that's when your hell ended. And then, so it was 12 years, really. And then you gave birth to Angie 6 years ago. So, right?
だから私は自分を間違える。
I'm confused, y'all. Why is she saying 18 years instead of 12? Battle is currently 18 years ago, but when she married Rudolph, that must have been 6 years ago. So what's up with that? Why are they telling us this? Why are they lying to us now? Telling us it was 18 years instead of 16. Unless I'm missing something. 12. Unless I'm missing something. It's supposed to be 12 years. And then you add on the 6 years. Those 6 years, she was happy. You know, this, right? Am I dumb?
あの人は私のものよ。
That man is mine.
もう逃がさない。手放さない。そして主に感謝する。
Bro, friggin' get a woman who's obsessed with you like Kitty's obsessed with Rudolph. That man is mine. I won't let him get away. Wow. Okay. Well, that sounds lovely.
その機会を与えてくれ。絶対にあの人を諦めないという絶対の意志に奇跡が応えてくれた。
My absolute certain willpower in not giving up on that man, no matter what, was answered with a miracle. By now, Jessica's speechless and didn't even nod her head in understanding. This true form of love that Kiryu was telling her about was far, far more harsh than anything she had imagined.
今の私はルドルフさんを私のところにつなぎ止めるためなら何でもする。そしてルドルフさんの敵には一切容赦しない。あの人が望むならば私は人殺しさえも躊躇しないかもしれない。
Hey yo? Hey yo? If he wished it, I might even hesitate to commit murder. Hey yo! Wait, Kitty, you can't. In this Ando fucking Jima, you can't just be saying that lightly. What if he did wish it? What if he did? Hey, yo, Kitty! Rudolph! Wait. Pack it up. Wait. Bring Rudolph over here. Are you two the culprits? Huh? Talk to me, Kitty. Talk to me. You said if you wished it, might even have to commit murder. Why are you saying this? No. Did you two? The most suspicious episode is episode 3. Don't you agree, Kitty? Now, Batman had an interesting theory. Ooh, okay. Rudolph and Kiryu culprit theory. Kiryiche. We'll call you Kiryiche. Alright? The Rudolph family. Well, obviously Batman's not the culprit, but the Rudolph couple. You know, Miria Harbint and and Isaac from Baccano. You have Miria and Isaac from Baccano. Are you that kind of couple? You go around stealing gold from certain golden witches, killing your entire family. Would Rudolph go that far? Now, again, episode 3 is the most suspicious episode, I think. Because if you look back to episode 3, we had a certain theory that Batman made himself, where he suspected his own dad of being the culprit, or of having been possible, because in episode 3 had the 6 locked rooms. Now, if Rudolph was the culprit, in episode 3, you know what's something really interesting that Rudolph could have done? He could have gone into the parlor, where he found Shannon's body, and claimed that the key to the parlor, or the key to whatever, was in Shannon's pocket or whatever, but he could have held it the entire time, and that's how he got inside the parlor, or he could have held it the entire time, and that's how and then acted like the key was inside Shannon, inside one of Shannon's pockets, not literally inside Shannon. Hey yo, and then yeah, so that's one sauce on Rudolph. The second sauce is the mansion. The food expedition. Kiryu, you, and Rudolph, and Hideyoshi went to go get some food. And the only person returning was Eva, obviously, but Hideyoshi died. What if you two tried to kill Hideyoshi and Eva, but Eva managed to escape, and then you two acted like you died? No, but then that wouldn't make sense because Eva would know who the culprit is. Yeah, because then Eva would just scream out, "It's Kiryu, it's Rudolph. They killed my husband. I hate them." So that doesn't make sense. They couldn't possibly leave Eva alive. That wouldn't make sense. If these two are the culprits, am I thinking about this random offline too much? I don't know, because I think she's being honest when she's saying that she wouldn't hesitate to commit murder. I think she's being honest. Does that mean she's the culprit of the family murders? No, not necessarily. But... And to be fair, Beto is the culprit, right? And Beto did say that Battler is the reason why these murders are happening. And she did also say that Battler Battler's family situation had nothing to do with what his sin and what that has to do with the murders. So that can't be the aim I'm gonna have to go through either. So if Beatrice is connected to Battler in some way and Battler's the reason, it can't be just, oh, Kim does greed for money and he asked Kiria to go on a murder spree. Because Kiria said she wouldn't go hesitate to commit murder. However, so yeah, I'm gonna rule them out of being the culprits. However, I do want to take that line here to heart. I might not even hesitate to commit murder. That is a very sus line from Kiria. Because it can imply, yes, they might not be the culprits, but they could have still been behind one or more murders that we've seen happen so far in any of these episodes. So I'm gonna take that line to importance, and I don't think I'm still gonna stick with Shannon is the culprit, but I don't think it's impossible for Rudolph and Kitty to have been behind maybe some stuff. And to be fair, you do also have, if you think about it in a different light, you do also have the fact that I also believe that Eva is behind some murders too in episode 3, right? Eva clearly killed Battler. I mean, there's no debate. She loaded the gun right at him, on his face, point blank, bang, shot him down. So Eva killed someone. Eva is a killer, whether you like it or not. She killed someone. And if you count every time Eva teacher's killing people as murders, now Eva's killed more than just Battler. She's killed Rosa and Maria too. So Eva is a murderer. But I do not want to exempt Rudolph and Kiria here. I might not even hesitate to commit murder. Is a very suspicious line there from you, Kiria. It could be just a one-off throwaway line that I'm supposed to forget, but I won't. How about that? Alright, Kiria. Alright. Maybe not, let's keep reading.
18年目にしてようやくその決意を持ったからこそ絶対の意志の奇跡を私にもたらしてくれた。
Again, why is it 18 years? Shouldn't it be 12 years? I'm still confused by that. I thought you married Rudolph 6 years ago, so it must have been 12 years after Austin and Rudolph got married. That doesn't make sense. Not 18, 12.
奇跡はね、それを自ら成し遂げられる者のところにしか現れない。
You know, miracles only come to those who can make them come true themselves. Asumi's death was no murder. Oh! Okay, that was another one of my theories, that maybe Kiria could have killed Asumi. But you're now saying that Asumi's death wasn't a murder? However, Kiria had often cursed her and hoped for her death. And finally, on the 18th year, she built up determination to kill her with her own hands. But she didn't kill her. That was no murder. And you're saying 18th years once again. Does that mean that 6 years ago, Rudolph and Asumi had been married for 18 years? 6 years ago, right? But that would mean that... But then that would necessarily have to mean that Rudolph and Asumi were married for 6 years before the birth of Battler, which doesn't make sense with the events of the story, because it was told that Kiria and Asumi were pregnant at the same time, and then the child also was pregnant with gave birth to Battler, and that's around the time Rudolph married Asumi. So it doesn't make sense for you to say that they were together for, they were together for 18 years, which means that would have been together for 18 plus 6, also known as 24 years. So 24 years ago, they got married. 18 years ago, Battler was born. Then 6 years ago is when Asumi died. That would make it 18 years, but it doesn't make sense with the events of the story. So I want you guys to clear that up for me, because the visual novel seems to be contradicting itself here, in my opinion. So explain that to me, because I don't get it. That doesn't make sense. And then she actually got herself a knife with which to do the deed. That was when the miracle occurred.
アスミおばさんが亡くなったことが奇跡。
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. No, actually, you know what? They're trying to convince me that Kiria didn't kill Asumi. Nah, I'm gonna stick by it. Just like how I believe that Natsuki killed the baby, and she confessed to it. She didn't confess to throwing the baby. She confessed that she could have saved them if she actually tried. So and so that was her confession from episode 5, and she's guilty of that. Natsu's guilty of that. So I'm gonna do the same for Kiria. Maybe she didn't kill Asumi directly, but maybe she could have saved Asumi. How did Asumi die? What was Asumi's official way of death? I wanna know, because I don't think I wanna believe that just like Natsu, Kiria also something to confess regarding Asumi's death, because I think Kiria was involved. Maybe. Just a miracle. I don't believe that.
違うわ。
You killed her, right?
そんなの全然奇跡じゃない。
That wasn't even close to a miracle.
だって彼女が死ななければ私が殺していたもん。
If she hadn't died, I would have killed her.
つまり彼女は必ず死ぬ運命だった。
She was fated to die no matter what.
奇跡なのは彼女が死んだにもかかわらず私が自らの手を汚さずに済んだ。
I didn't have to get my hands dirty.
この一点に尽きるのよ。
That's all. Maybe I will believe it, because the way Natsu is speaking about the death of the baby and the way Kiri is speaking about this, it seems like Kiri is being completely honest. Yeah, I didn't get my hands dirty. She did just die, and I didn't have to kill her at all. It seems like Kiri isn't saying this to be guilt-free, whereas Natsu saying the things she was saying regarding the baby falling and dying as trying to be guilt-free. Yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't kill that baby. That was me. But this seems like Kiri is being honest. Yeah, I didn't kill her. I would have killed her. So she's confessing already that she would have killed her. So it's not like she's guilt-free. So the fact that she's confessing to that means to me that she's not just saying that she didn't kill her just for the sake of avoiding avoiding guilt, because she's confessing to it. So now, you know what, I'm more inclined to believe Kiria now. Alright. Until now, Kiria had never shown Jessica, no, she had never shown Rudolph that glint in the deepest depths of her eyes. It told plainly and clearly that romance and love are not the sweet and fluffy candies that young girls imagine them to be. Jessica was overwhelmed by that pleasure and stunned silent. She had to acknowledge it. This was the power of will that could make love be realized. And imagine that. 18 years, right? 18 years or whatever. Kiria was capable of murder after all of that. What's stopping whoever is the culprit from this? Who's jealous? 6 years, right? Not as long, maybe. But they're in love with Battler. What's stopping them from committing murder for the sake of their love? If it is Shannon, and Shannon is in love with Battler, Berto's in love with Battler, you know how it is. What's stopping her from going on a killing spree? If even Kiria was capable of this, and now we understand Kiria because we understand her POV. Again, I don't condone it, and she didn't actually get her hands dirty, but she would have, right? So you see, love, as shown here, is capable of making someone do murderous things. So that same thing could apply to the culprit and to the murders of Rockinjima. Now all we gotta do is know the details of it. When, how, what's up with the relationship between Shannon and Battler, and how did that even build up to any sort of romance between them? That's what I gotta know. I gotta know that. Because so far I still don't sense it. I wanna try and sense it, because I don't understand it, if that is what's going on. I could be wrong. If that is, but I'm quickly starting to feel like the way this visual novel is presenting things to me, and the way Battler is giving me hints throughout this episode. I'm trying to focus on what sort of hints Battler would be giving me to me this episode. I'm quickly starting to think that the way I'm thinking has to be, well, it doesn't have to be, but could very well be the appropriate way to think, and maybe it is Shannon behind everything. Or Sayo, I should say. This was the level of willpower Kiria showed in her support of Rudolph as his wife. And it was the same for George. He already had the willpower to confront everything in the way of his love that transcended status. And he had proven that. Now, Jessica could clearly understand. Yeah, George even had the willpower to resolve to kill his own mother. Although it's only a piece, so there's that, but still. resolve, strong to be able to do that. This was the magnitude of George's determination, which had allowed him to boldly carry out his part of the demon's trial. This is the sort of determination you need, Jessica. Then what about her? Did she really have the resolve to make her love with Kanon bear fruit, and to go through with the task of harvesting it? Alright, don't take your time too much though, Jessica. You have to kill Kitty at some point. Kitty's gonna have to be a death.
軽いアドバイスのつもりが怖がらせすぎちゃったかしら。この天気のせいね。軽く凄むだけのつもりだったのに加減を間違えちゃったわ。
Kitty let a relaxed smile rise to her face. The tense atmosphere finally slackened. However, her words had been gauged. I can't speak. However, her words had been gauged into Jessica's heart.
ジェシカちゃんの恋がどんなものかはわからないけれど、ライバルがいてお互いが譲れない状況ならばなおのこと、のんびりなんかしてられない。
Can't let yourself become complacent, Jessica.
じゃないと私みたいになっちゃうわよ。女は恋のために人生で一度殺意を持つべきよ。
Again, I do not condone Kitty's actions and words right here. Every woman should have one time in her life when she would kill for the sake of love. That is wild. Don't do this. Don't kill people for any reason, preferably. Okay, fine. I'm not a woman and I'm speaking for the sake of women, but please do not kill people, woman or not. Please, thank you. The victim would probably appreciate it if you didn't, most likely.
世界中で母を名乗るすべての女がそうだったと断言できるわ。だって。
Really?
そうじゃない女は他の女に食い殺されて生涯を嫉妬と後悔の地獄で這い続けるのだから。
You know, maybe this is a woman thing. Maybe I shouldn't get involved. Let the women handle that. I don't know what she's talking about, I guess.
私はその地獄に18年いた。
Bullcrap. Should have been 12 years, but okay, 18 years. Let's go with that for now. I need to get that cleared up, because I don't know what's going on.
私は幸運よ。たったあの地獄には今も大勢の女たちがいて死ぬまで出られない。
I didn't mean to cut off Katie right there. I thought she was done. And to be fair, for Katie and Asmi to get the result they got, weren't there also other women who were gunning for Rudolph that also had to get their, that also had to be shoved off? So, in a sense, it's not like everyone got off, fine or whatever. Other people got hurt and had to go through that hell too, so.
後悔する自分を自らの手で処刑しない限りね。
なんていうか言葉もないです。
I have no words.
エールを送るつもりだったのに私ったら脅しすぎたわ。本当にごめんなさい。恋愛なんてもっともっと気楽でいいのよ。恋愛なんて本当に火遊び。誰でも簡単に気軽に遊べちゃう。そして間違えて大やけどした時その傷が生涯残るんだけどね。
Battler, is this the message you're trying to relate to us? What are you trying to tell us, Game Master, Mr. Game Master? Is this the way to find out the truth? What is this about love? How am I gonna figure out things from this, Battler? How is this gonna give me more clues? Come on, Battler, you're the other me. You found out the truth. How are you thinking right now, my man? Regrets in love will never fade. That was all that Kiria had been trying to communicate. It wasn't like Kiria to tell her life story instead of just saying something like that directly. In fact, her past was a topic she usually avoided. However, Kiria might have felt as though Jessica deserved to hear. Jessica timidly brought up the subject of love. Perhaps Kiria had opened up and told everything because she had seen the fires of Jessica's determination in her eyes.
じゃあ私はそろそろ戻るわね。今の話私たちだけの内緒よ。
Hey, yo, that giggle, it sounds so ominous, yo. Again, I'm not going to forget how you said that you could murder for the sake of, for your husband. I'm not going to forget that. But okay, I'll let you off for now. I don't think you're the culprit, so don't worry, Kiria. I'm not suspecting you. But it's an interesting statement, so I won't forget it. With a mysterious smile on her face, Kiria turned around. Very mysterious indeed. She's a...
脅しすぎちゃったかしら。
I wonder if I scared her too much. She's a mysterious woman. Kiria is weird. She's very mysterious. Very... I don't know if I could... I don't know if how I would be like if I had her as my mother. I mean, for Angie's sake, she died when she was only 6 years old, and Battler didn't have her as a mother properly until he was 12, right? But again, she said 18 years. The timeline is all messed up for me right now. That doesn't make sense. Okay, fine. 18 years, whatever. Battler didn't really have her as a mother until he was 12, but he didn't really see her as a mother, and she still doesn't really see him as a son, so it's okay. But I wonder how it would feel like to properly have Kitty as your mother. It's probably... She's very intelligent, so... I feel like she'd see through everything that I do, and I kind of had... But also, I don't know. I don't know how to have a discussion with my mother if she was like that. No, thankfully, my own personal mother's personality is completely different than Kitty is. Oh yeah, it's so different. Completely different women. That would be wild. But but imagine you had Kitty as your mother, though. How would that even? Just Kitty's personality is so. It's obviously, she would care for you, of course, right? Right, yeah. But I mean, it's also she, she she does sound like way too suspiciously. It's like she's always up to something. You can never really trust her. I don't know. I don't know if I could properly trust my mother if she was Kitty. Yeah, I don't know if you could ever trust trust her completely. I don't know. All right. The way she smiles all the time, and sometimes she says some intelligent stuff, and sometimes she says some spooky stuff, and then she goes off and then giggles, and it's just, I wonder if I spooked her too much. What is... to be fair, having Rudolph as your dad isn't much better, especially considering he's fast, I guess, but I mean, alright. Tough luck. No, I guess no surprise Batter ended up the way he did. Hey, Angie. Angie didn't get much fun upgrading with them, though, but...
でも脅されて知る地獄の方が100倍いい。そこに落ちた時はもう手遅れなのだから。
It's better to learn of the hell from warning instead of actually going through and experiencing it. Fair enough.
頑張ってね、ジェシカちゃん。ややこしそうな恋だけど負けないでね。
Alright, Kitty, it's time to die, though. Because that's Jessica's trial. Part of it is to have you killed. So let's see if Jessica goes through with it.
たまには人生の先輩らしく振る舞えたかしら。
It's not every day I get to act as a mentor.
何ジェシカちゃん。
Yeah, it's time for to die. It's time for your death, Kitty. Yeah. The entire talk was just, her trying to get the resolve to properly kill you. Time to die. Oh, that was such a cool spread! I want to see that again! Jessica's eyes, though! She looked scary! What? Oh, brass knuckles? Brass knuckles time? A windstorm grazed Kitty's head. Oh, brass knuckles from Jessica, alright. It had missed by a hair. If Kitty hadn't twisted her body slightly, that fist would probably have been buried in her face by now. A bitter smile rose to Jessica's face when she saw that her first strike had failed to land a kill. Look, her eyes are gray, yo. She's going in for the kill. Wow. Alright, Kirie, is it time to die?
言っとくけど、卑怯者だから不意打ちをしたわけじゃねえんだぜ。わけのわからないうちに一撃で、痛みさえ理解できないうちに終わらせようとしたのに。
I hope to end it with a single painless strike before you realized what was happening.
言ったでしょ、嫉妬の地獄で生きてきたって。
I'm sorry, like, how can that be your reaction? After your niece tries to punch you to death with brass knuckles, tries to one-hit KO you and then kill you. How is that your reaction? You dodge it and you go, huh, didn't it? So calmly. How? That's your niece. Shouldn't you be panicking like, oh, Jessica, why are you attacking? You know, that, any normal human being like this. Kid is not a normal human being. I'm convinced she's not normal. What is wrong with her?
刺されそうになったことの2度や3度あるんだから。
When? How? From who? What? What sort of crazy life have you lived, Kirie?
わかるのよ、不意打ちの直前の雰囲気が。
気配で分かったとでも。
You could sense it.
それプラス一番最初の嘘かしら。
That plus the lie till the beginning. True. Yeah, Kirie saw through that lie. I know she did. From the very beginning. I was like, come on, Kirie, you know that's cap. Yeah, you know that's cap.
嘘？
Yeah, a lie. Yeah, you did lie.
だってゲストハウスから来てジェシカちゃんの部屋で本を取って帰ろうとしたら、ここでこの向きでは出会わないもの。あなたがその嘘をつく必要性についてチェス盤理論で想定した7つのケースの中で
Just for theory, let me do 7 possible reasons. Wow, I guess that might be why Kirie's not a surprise, because this was one of the 7 theories, one of the 7 reasons. But that's wild though. Still to have no shock that to act completely calm during the situation and go, yeah, these are my theories, yeah, so I kinda, you know, I didn't expect this to happen, but I thought this was a possibility that you were trying to kill me.
最悪のものがこれだったわ。
This was the worst case scenario. Lamau. But hey, I'm still calm though, despite you trying to strike me down. Telling a hasty lie to Kirie would only put her on her guard. If Jessica hadn't told that lie, her surprise attack would have succeeded.
やるね。さすがキリエおばさんだ。
Time for a fight to happen.
どうしてあなたは最初から私を殺すつもりだったの？
You were planning to kill me from the beginning.
誰でもよかった。
It didn't matter who it was. I just needed to kill. I'm bloodthirsty. I need to kill. And unfortunately, it had to be you, Aunt Kirie.
最悪だよ。
Just my luck. That's just your luck.
キリエおばさんの話のおかげで吹っ切れた。感謝するぜ。
It's what you said that gave me the boost I needed. Thanks a lot. Well. You might have dug your own grave with that, Kirie. Kirie dodged the punch, placed her hand against that fist, and slammed it against the wall. Ordinarily, being made to punch the wall should have caused Jessica to hurt her own hand and roll around clutching it in pain. However, Jessica's fist had left what looked like a meter-wide crater in the wall. Damn! Totally realistic. Instead of a look of anguish after smashing her fist against the wall, Jessica clicked her tongue in irritation at having missed. This spread is epic. I want to see the original spread though. The original spread of Jessica hunting up on Kirie. I think actually this is where we're gonna end it though. Yeah. And the epic song is about to play, and her and Kirie are about to go into this huge, long fight, I bet. If it's as long as the fight between George and Eva, I do not want to prolong this too much because I won't find a fitting point to end it. So I think it's better to end it early on in the fight, at the very beginning, so that I can finish the whole fight next part. And besides, we get to look at this awesome spread as we do the outro. So yeah, so we're gonna end it there. Hope you guys enjoyed this part of Umineko when they cry. Look at Jessica go. She's got her fist up. We don't see any brass knuckles on her, right? I thought she's supposed to have. She typically has brass knuckles on her. We know Jessica's a fist fighter, so she fights with her fists. But no brass knuckles on her this time. Just her regular face. But hey, she's tough. And she's got grey eyes now instead of her typical blue eyes. Okay, Kiria, good luck dealing with her, with your niece. I'll see you next time to see for this fight's conclusion. Although you will lose, Kiria. I know you will die because you're going to be one of the 6 sacrifices, one of the first Twilight sacrifices, right? So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. I hope you guys enjoyed this part of Umineko when they cry. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time for more. Alright, y'all. Peace.